because of our next step that we are going to do. And this is the part that people are probably going to freak out over. Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. We're always living life up to no grid. Today we are in the chicken house, if you couldn't tell. And something that's a little bit controversial is how to clean or how to maintain or what to use in your chicken coop for bedding. I have not cleaned this out, like a good cleaning, in at least a month, at least. And it just ever so slightly is starting to smell in here. It doesn't really stink, especially when the windows and the doors open and the ceiling fan's on. It's really not bad in here at all. But when I first open the door, occasionally I'm getting a little bit of a smell. So I've decided I'm gonna go ahead and clean out the coop. And I just want to show you what my method is for that. I do have currently a feeder in here. I don't usually have a feeder in the coop, but I do right now because I had brought home some new hens and I want them to know that this is home and make sure they come in at night and things like that. So for a few weeks I'm leaving this feeder in here just so that they recognize this as home base. But normally this is not in here. However, it is full of feed, so I am not going to be moving it out for this video. I'll just have to kind of maneuver it over in the corner and work around it. Not a big deal. The very first step that we're going to do is scrape off any manure that is on the steps and the roosting bars, and then we will get to cleaning out any of the dirty that's in here, and I'll be putting that just into a bucket to put in my compost bin later. But that's just the first couple of steps. I will probably put this part in fast forward because there's not really going to be a whole lot of audio to go along with it. So for now, that is wet from the water that was at the end of my little shovel here. So as you can see, I've just lightly scraped everything up. Everything's not completely clean. I don't necessarily want it to be. I had a little bit extra than what went in my 5-gallon bucket, and that's okay too, because of our next step that we are going to do. And this is the part that people are probably going to freak out over. So I have some friends that are woodworkers, and they produce all of this beautiful sawdust. And that is what you are seeing on the floor, is basically composted sawdust. A lot of people will say that this will cause respiratory issues for your chickens. Maybe if you don't have free range, maybe if you don't have an open area coop, maybe if you do it at the wrong time of the day and you lock them up in there at night. I can definitely see how this could cause respiratory issues. In no way, shape, or form am I telling you this is the best method. Just saying, for me, it's really cost effective. Essentially, I trade some eggs for bags of sawdust, and that keeps the whole operation going without ever losing any money, so to speak. I do have some money in feed, obviously, and obviously in time and labor, but in my mind, I'm not spending money on pine shavings. I say all that to say, I'm going to put this down. It's going to get a little bit dusty. We have a ceiling fan in our chicken coop. I'm not sure how much of it you can see on this video, but it's going to get just a little bit dusty for just a second, and then we're going to walk away. What is left over is actually good, because that adds just enough moisture to keep this dust down, and then they'll scratch through it and compost it again. I only took a 5-gallon bucket out of here for the last month or two. And it's super lightweight because there's not a lot in there. So this is very, very easy and cheap to do. So with that, let me show you how we finish this whole thing up. Okay, chicken coop reset is now complete. And this was, believe it or not, my big cleaning. From this point forward, if I notice any smell whatsoever, I'll just sprinkle some fresh sawdust in here to take away that odor. And then I won't clean this again. And honestly, it is August now officially. I may not clean this again until spring, because when they compost, that produces heat, and it can naturally heat their own coop with their body heat and their manure. So it's highly likely, if this only needs cleaned, truly deep cleaned like this, every 2 or 3 months, it's been, I said in the beginning of the video, a month or two, but honestly, it's been almost since I got the coop and started doing this method. So I built the coop, and I started out with just nothing on the floor, and then went to this method, which is considered the deep bedding method. And whether or not this is exactly how the deep bedding method goes, I don't know. I'm just telling you what has worked for me so far. And in between deep cleanings, I just come through here and take out any big stuff that needs removed and sprinkle in some, I say take out big stuff. I don't really take anything out. I clean off the roosting bars. And then I might stir in some fresh with that manure. Bigs out. Bigs, back up. Back up. I will clean off the roosting bars and stir in some fresh sawdust that just mitigates the smell, and that's about it. After that, I only am going to deep clean it every 2 months to probably 4 months, depending on the weather. Since we are at the tail end of summer now, I don't expect that I will have to clean it again before winter. I may, and if so, I'll make sure and let you guys know about it. But for the most part, I am predicting that I probably will not have to come out here and clean this again until the very first part of spring, when it's nice enough for me to come down here and do it. The girls are very happy with their refreshed coop, and they are going to scratch around in here and already get, I don't even really need to stir things in. They do it for me 90% of the time. So that's going to do it for today. I know this wasn't super informative, but I just wanted to let you guys know that just because someone says you can't use something doesn't mean you can't, doesn't mean you should, but it just means it's okay to trial and error things and figure out what works best for you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing things a little outside of the norm sometimes. We do a lot of things outside of the norm here at the ranch. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does help us out. If you don't mind, like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Until we see you guys and whatever's going on next time, remember, never a dull day at the ranch. Some little birdies have built a little nest in here.